So we've got 4 pieces here for this particular bow, okay? We've got the 2 side hoops, we've got the peak section, okay? And this is the collar tie made of 3/4 inch EMT that's 10 feet long, okay? But what we do is we put the end of this in a vise, okay? We dog ear one corner, we cut it off with a hacksaw or a reciprocating saw,
Yep.
and then we drill through, okay? All right? On both ends, okay? And you'll see similar stuff going on some of the other components as well, okay? It's 3/4 inch EMT because it's a tensile component as opposed to a compressive component. So this can flex if it's compressed, but it's going to hold fast if it's stretched. So that's the reason we get away with that, because it costs less money than the top rail. Go ahead.
One question that someone had just asked is, could you, if you're a tall person, could you raise the height of the collar tie? So Adam, what would be your response to that?
Yeah, you just cut it short. And there's a point there where you're going to lose some integrity, but I think you could trade off. You could cut a couple feet off it and have some extra standing room. Yeah, right now it's at maximum strength.
Yeah, and now, so I'm 5'4", so yeah. it wouldn't accommodate, someone much taller. So, and then before we start assembling, we just make a really simple jig. This is where having a lawn or some area where you can pound in some wooden stakes really helps. And basically what we've done is we've taken a tape and we've measured out 14 feet here, because that's the width. And we're going to be putting the side hoops into the stakes, into the little jig. And that's giving us, making sure that it's going to stay fairly square or round when we do it.
Well, I'm going to do that one after.
You're going to, okay.
Okay. All right.
So again, the swaged ends, this is where they all slide in nicely.
Now this has been pre-assembled, but these are called tech screws, self-drilling screws. If you don't know about them, they're one of the most wonderful inventions ever. They come in 2 different styles. You can get them in Phillips like these, or hex head. The hex heads are easier to use, okay? But we only had these left over, so we're using these. It really doesn't matter. There's pre-drilled holes in this one, which makes it real easy, but I'll show you how easy it is to actually just drill one in. Okay. They're major time savers.
I have noticed though, I've been trying to repair and fix some of the ones we're using at Four Season Farm that have gotten sort of blown around. The tech screws will work themselves out, so it's always a good idea after a season to check the whole tunnel and retighten them, repair whatever you need to repair. It's just the nature of the beast. Yep, so then we have our brace band I was talking about earlier, and we can slide it on. And we've marked out, you'll see in the manual, it sort of tells you the length that you're going to measure from the peak down to this point. I think it's right around 72 inches.
Like that.
Is that what is it, 72? I always remember 72.
I can't remember.
Anyway, that's the point that we're attaching the collar tie. If I can bend this. And then get into the jig.
Clara.
You'll just start with that one?
Let me just put a screw in it so it stays put. Okay, so I've got this side on and loose, okay? Clara's going to adjust that until she gets it on there.
I have a question. I did miss it. The screw that you're using is very quick compared to what I've used with those tech screws. This is a special...
It's just the same thing.
Same thing?
Yep, same idea.
Yeah, I've had much more effort on mine than that.
Oh,
Here,
let's
get that on there so it's not
Okay.
Let's see.
Here, let's get into the jig too.
Yeah, well, you did that.
Do you want to bring it in the
No,
jig?
no,
Okay.
not yet. Okay, now into the jig.
So yeah, and he just screwed that right through the brace band.
should be in there. We should be in on the other side,
Are we
right?
in both sides?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're just going to tighten these guys up.
And with these carriage bolts, aren't these supposed to be the longer ones for the end wall?
Yes.
Yes. So the carriage bolts, it's always important to face them in, for one. And we're using slightly longer ones on this end wall because we're going to be attaching the end wall bracing, that, as you can see there. So we want to have extra length. Okay. You get that one?
Yep.
Okay.
We're still in the jig, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So good. We're all 14 feet, and now we can pick it up.
One person can move this very easily, okay? If you're tall enough.
So when we get over to the base rail, we have our T-clamps already set up and ready to go. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to go at yours first? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, one at a time for sure.
So as you can see, it just slides right in, and then we tighten it up around it, and then we can add a tech screw as well to secure it. 5 foot 6 inches. The number's escaping me. It's in the manual. What's the distance between?
Yeah, you had it right.
It's 5 foot 6. I had it right. Yep.
Yep.
And again, the idea is because this is 16 feet, we're trying to space them equidistance. 5 foot 4. There we go.
It's 16 divided by 3.
There we go. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So here we are.
And it stays without even being attached to the ridgepole yet. Okay. Do you want to do ridgepole first?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we'll do angle brace.
Yep.
Yep.
So the P connector piece that we bent, then you have to drill a hole through the top, and you also have to sort of ream it out to get it large enough to accommodate the carriage bolt up top. Okay, and see how easy this is? It helps when it's been pre-assembled, but
helps a lot.
it's still pretty easy.
Okay. You'll notice that there's a little piece sticking off here, okay?
Yep.
That's to hang the scissor doors from, okay?
And
we'll do those in a little bit.
Yeah, the interesting story about that too is that, you know, at first, Elliot, he cut this to the right length, and then he searched online. He was trying to find something he could insert in there to be an attachment for the scissor door. And then he finally realized, oh, wait a second, if I leave extra length and just attach one of these brace bands, I can just slide that right on, and that creates my attachment point. You could, yeah, yep. I mean, you could, but the point is like, why add something more when you could just leave something on that would serve the purpose? So the other thing you can use are the T-clamps as well. So you could use either or. But we'll get to that in a minute. Next, we've got the angle braces. Where's my? Do you have the brace band for?
I got them.
Here?
I got them all. I'm
You
gonna
have
put
them
them
all.
on just a sec. And we can slow down too, Clara. I think we got a lot of time. Okay. Thanks.
Yep. And then you have an extra brace band somewhere.
Here. You'll need two.
Thank you. Oh no, I've got mine down here, so I only need one.
Right, but we'll need one for the cross piece.
Oh, right.
I'm putting that on first.
Wait, we should have put this on before.
We
but-
should have.
Yeah. Yeah,
We were
so
thinking.
these are all the little, like, should have probably put this on here before we put it into there. But if we've got a strong person, they can
Yeah.
bend it.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we're actually going to do two on here. Can you do a second?
This one, I think we can do.
Yeah, I mean, they can just slide it.
And then this one.
Basically, one's for the knee rail, and the other's for the angle brace.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna drill a hole now. put it on backwards.
Well, do you want it at that point?
No, I do in a sec.
Oh, okay. Did you mark it already?
The hole is still there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
There you go.
And then if you have a square, it's a good idea, you didn't bring one,
Nope.
to use a square at this point here to try to square it up when you're attaching the angle brace. So right now we're just winging it.
Yeah. You want to do that on the first end, and then the whole thing is probably going to be true anyway at that point. So yes, something here.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Oop. Okay. Gotta get one more on there.
Yeah, I do. And these are different thicknesses all the time. There's really no consistency, so you gotta. Some are harder than others to deal with. I need another hand. Thank you. Yeah. There we go. Okay.
I'm gonna have to bend that out.
Here you
There
go.
we go. Thank you.
We'll figure it out. Actually, let me bend it down a little bit. Squeeze it. There. These clearly didn't all go back to the same spot. Yeah. They were in. Well, okay, I'll tell you what.
Here we go.
Well,
Is it all
yeah?
tweaked?
No. Here, let's do this. I'll just pull this
Is it
texture
all-
out.
yeah.
And we'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, none of this is ever going to be perfect. So.
There you go. Now it'll go.
Well, the anchoring is what we'll talk about. I don't know if Adam actually brought any anchoring
Nope.
examples. No. But you know, any sort of earth anchors, T-bars that you
Close enough.
pound in and put all along the edge, and then attach
Okay.
chain binders with would be another idea. But you definitely want to make sure they're anchored. So.
All right.
Okay, so that's part of it, and then we have the knee rail.
Let's assemble the knee rail.
Okay. Oh no, that's my piece.
This one and that one.
Well, yeah, I mean we can definitely get up to 60 plus gusts. I mean it's infrequent, but it can happen. Usually one of the big issues is when it's all opened up. That's where it can go off like a parasail. So whenever winds come in, we try to close everything down as best that we can. I actually have a great photo for the workshop tomorrow of what happens when you don't. It goes into the telephone pole, and yeah, I know. So. But I was talking about anchoring earlier. You can use just some T-posts, pound them in along the side, a chain binder with some chain, and that works like mobile home anchors, earth anchors. You could really get serious and do those. I've heard of people doing sonotubes, concrete down in, having attachment points that they have all along. So you can get creative with your anchoring. Okay.
Now, if you're doing this yourself, right, you're going to be measuring all this stuff and placing these things, you know. So, my buddy Matt put this thing together, and he did a pretty good job. And he leaves those in place for quick assembly for demonstrations. So, and you notice that all the hardware is pointing in, right?
Yep.
Away from the plastic.
And then this provides us our attachment point for the angle brace here.
because it gives clearance for plants when you go to move it, whatever. Could you put it lower?
You could if you had flat beds, like also, you know, for raised beds, which is kind of the system that, you know, is used on Four Seasons Farm. It was designed for that as well.
It just seems like you have to, it's called a knee brace because you bang your knee on it all the time.
Yeah, it's not that great as far as entry goes.
But
yeah.
it does make this nice angle for the bracing. So, you know, being lower down, it may not be quite as strong. So part of it is also ensuring that we have a strong end wall. And with the scissor doors on there, then we have attachment points. We can open it at varying degrees. So. Yep, so we'll talk about plastic in a sec, but the wiggle wire channel that's on the end there, you would space the two modules about 1 foot apart with the wiggle wire channel, and you would attach it in between. So it's just the wiggle wire that's attaching the two together with the plastic. So it doesn't need anything complicated to attach the two together. Again, if each module is anchored in the ground, that's all you need. You don't need to have them attached to each other. Yeah, we always find that just leaving about 1 foot space in between them, and then that allows it easily to wiggle wire together.
Anywhere there's a brace band, anywhere there's a T-clamp, we're putting extra tech screws in them so they cannot move, okay? All right. The
hole right here?
Not very, maybe, you know, minimally. Yeah, maybe.
Just
but
if your snowfall's falling off, or your wind pressure, you know, if it's beating down.
It's really negligible on those little teeny holes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, larger holes like this
right.
will affect integrity for sure, and that's the whole reason for the collar tie.
Okay.
And of course the crease.
The bolt at the top, your plastic, you know, as it heats up and cools down, rubs against that.
Okay. So what you do up at the top is on the top hole, you actually ream it out with a little bit bigger drill so that square peg goes in the round hole better, and it fits more flush, right?
Yep.
Yep. And it doesn't rub as much. You minimize that.
So I mean, this of course is just what Elliot has come up with, and then kind of mostly Adam and you know, a couple others input. So this is a very fluid design. Anyone who has other ideas, modify it by all means. You know.
Yeah, there's no rules.
This is not a fast and hard, you know, design by any means.
Yeah.
And
I'll use a cooking analogy, right? So I like the Food Network, right? And so the cooks on there, they talk about, you know, a recipe is a recipe, but a recipe for baking is a formula. So there's no formulas here. This is just a recipe. You can modify it any way you want, really.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty efficient.
Yes, I mean it's a good base point to start from. So,
To clarify, when you're attaching multiple of these, you would not have any of this bracing.
You would not have.
Attachment.
You would not have these in
Actually,
the
good.
center if you're attaching 3 together, right? Elliot also he doesn't do the angle bracing as well in the inner ones, but the ones that I've been repairing this fall have really gotten racked. So I would suggest the extra cost and effort of putting angle braces on every corner of every one. I just think you're going to end up with a stronger tunnel. So. But again, it's all about like that cost, you know, how much money do you want to save? I mean, the calculator that's in the manual, it says around $3 a square foot, $2.50, but my dad likes to get down to $1.50. So, you know, he's cutting some corners there to do that.
So in the instruction manual, these are the scissor doors, okay? So in the instruction manual, our original design used a collar, or brace band, I mean, and you know, through bolted on the end. It's very loose, okay, and it just slides over the thing. And this is your hinge, right? So we've come up with an alternate way of doing that. And the reason that these are like this is because we ran out of these. So, right? So this, I'll put this down, okay? So these are the T-clamps, okay? I buy these online at a place called chainlinkfittings.com. All right. So what we do with these, I'm just going to hold that there for now. Let me just open this up just a little bit. Hold on.
So basically you can't go wrong with either or. If you have extras, use what you have on hand.
Is there a reason for using this?
It
Just depends on what you have on hand.
yeah, I mean I would say this is a little easier because you're not actually having to drill through the pipe.
Okay.
If you use the brace band, you've got to drill through the pipe. So
Yeah.
that just is clamped on there. What the
It
T
probably is,
clamps
but it's
are a little more expensive.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, but not
it's
a
not
ton.
a lot.
Slide. There we go.
All right.
Okay, and then this one. So you get your 2 examples.
Okay. And what you do, if you would grab me that screwdriver one. Thank you.
We just basically put a little stopper on the top to keep it from falling off. Find another one. Oh, there you go. Good eyes. Oh, thank you.
I only put that in partially, okay? So that this can swing by it freely
Yep.
and all that. Okay. Now when you're venting in the summertime, what you can do is, at Home Depot they have spring clamps that cost $1. I only have these with me, so I'm just going to use these to demonstrate. But you can use these, you know, basically to clamp it up in place. Okay.
And you could do it any degree you wanted, all the way full open.
The other way that Matt did is he attached a piece of rope on the inside. It comes around and attaches on the outside to the check screw or something like that. It works the same way.
And then down, when you're closing them, we have a bolt here where we can actually slide the 2 in place and secure it right here. So that's how we keep it together. For the plastic, we have a separate 2 pieces that go on the end here, as opposed to what's on the tunnel itself. Did you bring the snap clamps too?
Yep.
Okay, so with this part here, we can just use some really simple plastic snap clamps to attach it on, tech screw those on, and we don't have to waste more money on wiggle wire channel on here to attach it. You could actually do the whole tunnel with these snap clamps if you didn't want to use wiggle wire channel, but it can pull and tear off those from a lot of stress. So the wiggle wire channel is better to use. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean, any place where there's a tech screw, if there's just been kind of, you know, movement, they kind of wiggle out. So those places, you know, all of the bolts, everything kind of needs to be tightened, checked over at least once a season. As I was mentioning, I would definitely do angle braces at every corner of every one. What else? You know, the anchoring, just making sure you have a really good anchoring system.